Hey everyone, hope you're surviving your quarantines at home. I know we are. We're actually really enjoying not having to drive 6 kids to a million different soccer, track, dance, other kinds of events from thing to thing to thing, and enjoying just being together and spending time together and doing stuff from home, and it's been really nice and enjoyable. So today I'm going to talk to you a movie about someone who thrived in hard situations. I wouldn't quite say quarantine, I'd actually say worse than quarantine. And this was a show made in the 60s that was my brother's favorite movie growing up. I can't even tell you how many times he made me watch this movie. And that is Swiss Family Robinson, which is about a family that shipwrecks on an island and how they have to make the best of their situations and circumstances and come together as a family through whatever, trials they have, whether it's finding food, finding shelter, dealing with each other, animals, different things like that. And it really just a fun show that's currently on Disney Plus, which is great. I know I've been trying to pick some shows that are on there for you guys, so those of you that haven't used your free trial can go on there and watch that. One thing there, film-wise to note, a lot of the things that they did with animals in that film would definitely not be allowed with certain SAG regulations today, the way that some of the animals were treated in filming that film. So if you're sensitive to that, I just want you to be aware of that. Also, this is one of the very first Walt Disney pictures that they actually used the widescreen and used Panavision lenses. Before that, I'm going to look at my notes so I say this right, they actually did a lot more of the matted wide or the CinemaScope type films and cameras and things like that. So this was the first time Walt Disney used Panavision, which is extremely popular in filmmaking things. Also, George Lucas, those of you that are Star Wars fans, was a huge fan of this film. It actually, one of the scenes where they're fighting, I think an anaconda in the swamp, inspired a scene in New Hope. And the director, Ken Anakin, is where George Lucas got the name Anakin for his character, Anakin Skywalker and all that. So he was a huge fan of this film. I would recommend just get some popcorn, sit down with your family, and then have discussions of what would we do. I mean, we're already going through what are we doing being quarantined in our own house. What would that look like if we didn't have, the many different blessings that we do have? And that's a great time to have a conversation about the blessings we have. We still have running water. We still have heat. We still have those kinds of things. I wasn't going to share this, but I'm going to all of a sudden because I haven't hit my 5-minute mark. But several years ago, I was super pregnant with my third child, and we were living in Oklahoma. And we decided to go home, it was about January, to visit my family in Utah before I had the baby. And we weren't able to make it out for Christmas. We kind of did a post-Christmas get-together with them. And we were driving home, and we got into our little home. We were just a little place outside of Tulsa called Broken Arrow. And we were pulling in a mile or two from home, and I had this really strong feeling I should stop at the gas station for milk. We hadn't been there it had been 2 or 3 weeks, and we didn't have bread, we didn't have milk, we didn't have eggs, pretty much anything perishable we didn't have. So I felt strongly we should stop at the grocery store to get those things, and I didn't, we stopped, we pulled into the parking lot, but they closed at midnight, and we got there like 12:31. And then I had, again, this feeling like, turn around, go back to the other gas station, or to the other grocery store, and I'm like, the other grocery store is 10 minutes down the road. I've been on the road for the last this was a 20-hour road trip. We didn't have the money to stop for a hotel on the way home. We were just about to have a baby. I'm super pregnant. I've got 2 sleeping kids in the car. These are all the things running through my mind, so I didn't stop. Then I felt one more time, check the gas station. So my husband, Steven, when I said, well, maybe we should stop at the gas station and at least get some milk. And he said, no, I'll wake up early tomorrow morning. I'll go pick it up so that we have it for breakfast. Don't worry about it. Well, about that same time that we started pulling in, it started to rain. And in the Midwest, if you've ever lived through an ice storm, you know what I'm talking about. Everything just turns into sheets of glass. It is just ice everywhere. So everything was turning into ice. And then it started snowing. So now you have this layer of ice and then just nonstop snow. We were snowed in. I mean, we opened our door and there was a foot or two of snow. And in Oklahoma where we lived, they didn't plow every single road. They only plowed the main road. So if you couldn't get to a main road, you were out of luck. And we were in that situation. We just had a really small car. And I mean, pretty much everyone was snowed in. We ended up being snowed in for a whole week. About the week mark, my husband just said, you know what? closest grocery store is a mile or two away. I'm just gonna put on a backpack and I'm just gonna hike to it and go get some bread and whatnot. Luckily, a nice neighbor gave my husband a ride and we were able to pick up a few things, but it was a very similar situation. The shelves were just ransacked. I mean, I think he was lucky to get a gallon of milk and some powdered milk to help us, you know, stretch that or whatever. And one of the hard things for us is we knew we were only living there temporarily. My husband had a summer sales job, and so we kind of just lived off of what he made in the summer for 6 months, and we knew we were moving in May, and there was no point for us to like store a ton of stuff. So we made it work. We had stuff that we needed. Some people's favorite story is my son is a picky eater, and unless you have a true picky eater, you don't know what it's like to have a picky eater. And all that kid wanted was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I had peanut butter and I had jelly, but I didn't have bread. But I did have the stuff to make bread. But like I said, we were only living there 6 months. We were living on bare essentials. So one thing I did not have was a bread pan. So basically I took cans that we had used that had like chili or beans or something like that in it. And I baked the bread in a tin can. So those of you that used to follow my blog, I'll put a link down below. I actually have a blog post regarding it. And it was a great life lesson for us and coming together and finding time as a family. But even then, we were fortunate. We still had running water and we still had heat. And we were very lucky for that, because had we had no heat in the middle of January, in the middle of an ice storm, I don't know what we really would have done. So again, go watch Swiss Family Robinson and talk about what things you do have right now and how you do have each other and how much worse it could be, and that you're not fighting an anaconda off and you're not boiling your water or doing crazy things like that. So hopefully you guys are enjoying and making the most of your quarantine. I got to help some kids with some homework stuff right now, and I'll talk to you guys later.